Okay, here we are in the ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics website, and we're looking at the data by region. So if you come down here where it says search by map, you can type in the name of the place where you want, and I'm going for Richmond because the third letter of my last name is R, so Richmond, and I'm going to click on the Tweed here. Then I come over here, and if I scroll down, I can see that we've got Richmond Tweed, and I can view that data. Now, there's plenty of data here that you can use for the other parts of your assignment if you choose. Right, but we're after the population because we need to find the mean, median, mode, age. Right, so we click on the population and you'll find all of the data here for the past few years. Now, it's separated as males, percentages, females, and percentages. And if we go all the way down here, we've got the persons, and it's broken up into 5 year groups, 0 to 4-year-olds, 5 to 9-year-olds, etc. And this last column being that kind of 2023, that main one that we really want. Now, you could take a screenshot of this, you could type it all up yourself, or you can come all the way down the bottom, scroll past all this information, and you'll see this one here, which is download the XLSX, which is an Excel spreadsheet of it. So click on that, and then you'll have the spreadsheet, and that will be our next step. Okay. Now you've opened up that spreadsheet, and again what we're after is the population. So we'll come down here, population, and we'll click on that and it opens this one. Now what we want to do is we want to actually see this third column. So if we move our cursor over here, you can see it changes from like an arrow to this kind of cross. If you click and drag, that allows you to make that column wider. We want it wider so that we can see what these actual titles are. Okay, that's plenty. Right, now what I want is I don't want to just look at the males, and I don't want to look at just the females. I want to look at the population of the people. So I'm going to come down here and I've got the people. So they start here. I'm going to highlight that, okay, and going all the way down to the 85 and over. Now this is the number. We want the number, not the percent. Right, now you've got that. We're going to copy that. So I'm just going to do Control C to copy that one. And then what we want is we want a new spreadsheet. So File, New Spreadsheet, and I'm going to paste it in the second row so that I can put titles in. So I'm going to paste it there. Now again, we can't see the column C anymore. So if we come back here, if we move our cursor across so that it changes to that kind of cross, click and drag, and that will make that one wider. Now we don't need these first two columns. They're kind of like a waste, so we'll just delete them. You can leave them there, but it won't look good in your screenshot for your assignment. And all we need is this last column over here. So I'm going to highlight all these ones, delete that. I do want an empty column here for the maths that I need to do. Okay, but I'm going to delete all of these because I just need that 2023 frequency. So this was the frequency, right, of each kind of age group. So there's 557 0 to 4-year-olds in Richmond. Okay, now we're trying to find the mean, median, and mode. So I need the midpoint of this age group, right? So we've got the 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4-year-olds, but what's the middle age of that group? Well, thinking about it, the median of that group would be 2. So I can put that one in there. Now, thinking about our 5 to 9-year-olds, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9-year-olds. What's the middle of that? The middle of that is 7. Now, you can go ahead and type all of the middles in, or you can get Spreadsheet to do it for you. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to click in this cell here, and I'm going to press equals because I'm telling it that I've got a function for it to follow. All right, and if you think about it, the difference between 2 and 7 is 5, so each midpoint's going up 5 years. So I'm going to click on this 7 before, all right, and then I'm going to add, so plus, and then 5. Now I'm going to press enter, and I get 12. Now I want to drag that formula through all those cells because I don't want to have to type it all in. So if I come back here and click, now you can see I've got a really big fat cross here. Now if I move my cursor to the side and down to the corner, becomes a thin cross. If I then click and drag my cursor down to the bottom one and release, it fills in all those midpoints. Just checking there, right? So the midpoint of 85 to kind of like the 90-year-olds will be 87. Now that's going to be an issue with your mean, median, and mode because everyone over 85 is just lumped into that same group. And that's a strength or limitation you can talk about in your assignment. Right, now, if we want to find the mean, we add up all the numbers and we divide by how many there are. So we need a total for the frequency. Now, if we zoom in here, you'll see I'm in the bottom cell of the frequency column. I'm going to press equals, and then I'm going to type sum because I want it to add up all of these values. And I'm going to open a bracket, and I'm going to highlight the section which I want it to add. I want it to add all of those values above this. I'm going to close the bracket, and when I press enter, it will add them all up. So in the Richmond on Tweed, 7,662 people. Now, again, if I want to find the mean, I've got to find all of the ages, like add up every person's age and divide by how many people there are. Now, I don't really have all of them. I do know there's 557 in this age group of 0 to 4-year-olds. So I don't know their actual age, but I'm going to pretend they're all 2. I'm going to pretend they're all the midpoint. So I'm going to say there's 557 2-year-olds, and I want to add all those 2s together. Okay, so the quick way to do that is we're going to create this column, and we're going to call it the midpoint times the frequency. Now, let's just make the column bigger. Click and drag up here. All right, now zooming in here, we can see what we're going to do is we're going to type in a rule. So we're going to say this is equal to our midpoint multiplied by, which is you do shift and the 8, which gives you that star. And we want to multiply that by the frequency, so click on the frequency. Now I've got the cells in there. When we press enter, that would be as if we sat down and added the number 2 557 times. Okay. Now we want this formula in all of these cells. You can type it again, or you can click in the formula cell. We've got the big fat cursor, the big fat cross, move down to the bottom corner, goes thin, click and drag. Right. So that is us adding up that midpoint, that kind of age. We're pretending that everyone in that group is that age, and how many of them, we're adding them all up. Now down the bottom here, we'll zoom in again, we actually want another total. So again, we go equals sum bracket, and then we highlight all of the ones we want, and we come back, we close that bracket, and we press enter. All right, so if we were to come up here and we were to find the mode. Now, if you think about it, the mode is the one that you see the most. So we've got the frequency. We've got 557 0 to 4-year-olds, 515 5 to 9-year-olds. Which group has the most? All right, looking through them all, this group here looks like it. All right, so 723 in the 30 to 34-year-olds. Is it the biggest number? Yes. Is the most frequent there. So the mode exists in the 30 to 34-year-olds. So we'll highlight that yellow. Now, if we wanted to find the mean, remember what we do is we add up all of their ages and we divide by how many there were. So we're going to go mean, and we're going to click in here, we're going to go equals. Then we're going to come down here and we're going to click on this total of the midpoint times frequency, and we're going to divide that by this total of the frequencies. All right, and then we press enter, and our mean is 36. Right, now this isn't accurate, right, because we kind of pretended that we had 557 2-year-olds. Well, they could have been 2 months, right, or 3 years, or 3.5 years. It's just a best guess scenario. But our 36-year-old mean exists in the 35 to 39-year-olds. So our mean is existing in that kind of group. And then the last one we want to find is the median. All right. So I'll just give this a green color. All right, now there are 7,662 people. Okay, so if you wanted the middle of that, imagine that's the back row of the cinema. What's the middle number, right? So the middle number is going to be equal to our 76662 plus 1, and we're going to divide that by 2. All right, so our middle number is the 3,831st and a half person. Now we're looking for them. How do we do that? Well, we need that column called cumulative frequency. Again, we'll just make this one a little bit wider. All right, now cumulative frequency, think back to class. You did this in class. We're adding the frequencies on each time. So this first one is going to be equal to the 557. The second one is going to be equal to the first 557 people plus the next lot of people, the next group, okay? And we want that formula to continue. So we go back up into the cell, click, move from our big cursor to our thin cursor, click and drag. Now, we're just dragging down to the 80 to 85 years, right? Now, how do you know if you did this right? Well, this bottom number will be the same as your total over here. If they're the same, you did that right. Okay, so that was starting at 557 2-year-olds up to 7,660. Second person is in the 85 bracket. Well, we want to know where the 3,831st person is. Well, look at this. There's 3,140 people there, 3,863 people there. So the 3,831st person will be in here somewhere. And that means that our median is in the 30 to 34 year olds. All right, same as our mode. So that's how you're going to find the mode, mean and median of your 2 suburbs for this assignment. Remember, because we made that midpoint, we don't have the actual data, the actual individual people's data. This is just a best guess, not as accurate as it could be if we had everyone's actual ages.